Oops, wrong way. Turn it on.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, hi again. We got bad internet connection, so we've got it fixed now. I hope everyone can see. Um, let's see. Okay, so here's Lisa on the couch over here. It's so cute. And this is Oliver, rescued from the Chinese meat market. And there's Wayne. Hi, Wayne.
Also rescued from a Chinese meat market. I'm kind of serious and stuff.
And then we have Priya and Alicia. So yes, welcome. And so I was going to start out asking, I think Alicia, we had started with you.
Okay.
I was saying why do you have felony charges? I mean, you were simply trying to give a dying animal water. Every being should have the right to water. And that is in the law, right? For animals, even farm animals?
Yes, 597E, I believe, says, that you have the right to, like, go on someone else's property if you know that an animal is being denied food or water. And so we, DXC has done an investigation at this farm. We have reached out to, like, all the different authorities to try and get help the animals.
Julianne. Hi guys. Julianne. So all three of us are on here now. Go ahead. But so basically we got arrested. But we got arrested basically because we were exposed to truth. I think Julianne. Julianne, you?
Yes, I can.
Cool.
Maybe I can't. I will try.
Actually, why don't you just go first?
Okay. I don't know if Alicia mentioned this, but this was a follow-up of an investigation. So Direct Action Everywhere's open rescue team that collects and documents evidence of how animals are being treated in places where they're abused, like farms and laboratories, went onto a dairy farm in California called Raymar Farm. And we documented how the animals were being treated, including one of the most shocking things, which was how they were confining the baby calves. And in California, we actually just passed Proposition 12, which is a law that is going to ban what they deem to be cruel confinement of animals. So imagine a place that is so small that an animal can't even easily stand up, turn around, and lay down. Imagine, Baxter being in a cage so small his whole life that he couldn't even turn around without touching the sides of the enclosure. And that's how the baby cows are being treated on this dairy farm. And that investigation was covered internationally by The Intercept. And we went back and did a save vigil to show people that this isn't just one night on one farm how animals are being treated, but that if you walk onto an average factory farm in this country, in California, you're going to see that kind of treatment of animals. And indeed, that's what happened. Priya, Alicia, and I live streamed how animals were being treated on this dairy farm. And you could see that when we walked on, we walked past several dead bodies. We walked past young baby cows who were languishing, who were so close to death that they could not even stand, as Alicia mentioned earlier. And it's important for us all, as difficult as it is to go and see this suffering, to show people that this is the reality of what's happening, that this isn't just in some dark corner somewhere, but this is happening prevalently every day in America. And as Alicia alluded to, the backlash that we got for showing how animals are treated, showing the truth of how animals are treated, is that we were arrested. And the reason for that is because big corporations make money off of exploiting animals. Big corporations make more money if they confine animals in cruel ways. Big corporations make more money if they get to tear babies away from their mothers, and if their males, sell their bodies off when they're young, and if their females continue to exploit their mammary glands and that sacred right of motherhood in order to sell it as ice cream and cheese and butter. And so it's important that people like myself, Priya and Alicia, pretty average people, go on and just film what's happening to animals and tell the world that this is reality.
I want to know why you're getting a felony for trying to save a tap water. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so why we were charged with the felony, is that the question?
Yeah.
So the felony was grand theft, if I'm not mistaken. And usually that felony is reserved for stealing something that is worth over $1,500 in value. But there is one exception for that law, and that exception is for stealing livestock, whether they are a live animal or even a carcass or somewhere in between, like the poor baby that we tried to save who was hanging between life and death and was thrown into a dead pile because they saw that there was no way she was going to cover without veterinary attention. The farm wasn't about to spend money on a veterinarian to save one life, one little baby on their farm. And so we were charged with a grand theft because the industry is so terrified of whistleblowers coming in and showing what's happening to animals and rescuing them and telling their stories that they use their power and influence in politics to make it a more offensive charge, to make it a more serious crime, to steal livestock in order to dissuade activists from speaking up for animals and trying to save lives.
Yeah, the reason, and maybe the feedback.
Yes, thank you guys. I think it's a good idea for me to drop since there's quite a bit of feedback.
Well, I think go ahead. I want to ask you an uncovered when you went to China and six dogs behind me, she's on the trade. Which was worse, Chinese trade or the cat?
Oh man, that's a difficult question that I've had. What is worse, seeing how the dogs are treated in the dog meat trade or how animals are treated in the United States? And a couple of things I'll say. One is that the farmer who raised Pow, who was going to sell him for meat. Can you hear me okay?
In and out.
Okay. Sorry, I heard there was a little bit of in and out. But when I rescued Pow, he was from a farmer who actually had started as a pig farmer. And Pow was raised in a concrete room about 15 feet wide by 15 feet deep. He was never able to leave that room. He had never touched grass until we rescued him. And this is also very true of how animals are treated in the United States in the farm industry. The calves that we saw are confined in a place where they can't get away from their feces. They have to defecate and urinate where they live, the same way that Pow did. And he had feces matted onto his hair, and he had skin diseases, and he was malnourished the same way that these cows were. And Pow was also part of a free-range farm. He was able to walk around a little bit. He actually had more space to walk around than these calves did. And that's because in the United States, one thing that we are very good at is profit. We're a capitalistic society that focuses a lot on money and profitability, and it's more profitable to pack more animals into a smaller space. And so in many ways, the American farm industry is crueler than it is in other countries where the animals have at least a little bit of freedom to exercise, because here in America, we see them as nothing more than products, and we pack them in so tightly that that not only do they barely survive, but many of them die. And a lot of these industries will bake that into their calculations of profitability, is what is going to be the death rate. And we've seen that in some of our investigations where you're seeing dozens of chickens dying inside of an egg farm every day. When we walked onto that dairy farm on a random day, we saw at least 2, if not 3 dead bodies. And they count on that happening because they are going to take care of these animals in the least cost way that they can. And if some of them die, so be it. And the ones that survive will be sent to a slaughterhouse and have their throats slit the same way that they were going to kill Pow for meat. And really, there is no difference. Pow has the same ability to enjoy life and to have friendships as cows do. And he has the same desire to just sit alone in a field and eat grass and enjoy life and feel the sun on his face. These are the same things that pigs and cows and chickens want to feel. And if we're appalled by the fact that in certain cultures this type of animal is killed for meat, we should be appalled that in our culture we kill other animals with all the same feelings and sensations for meat as well. They all deserve to be happy and free.
Everything is bringing light into their darkness. I'm sure you're out there. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry, we were cutting out.
All right. Well,
Priya, I think you should do some
Sure.
talking. You were a main one on there, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, that experience was, yeah, you can hold it up or turn it around. Yeah, that experience was extremely, I would say, traumatic for myself and Alicia and Julianne, and it's because of what we saw. And as someone who is documenting, for me, I usually try to keep myself disconnected because I know that I have a role to play, and I knew that Alicia and Julianne would do a good job, and I didn't really need to step in. I only needed to be the camera person. And I was doing that fine until we came upon Angel, who's the calf that we named, that we found in a dead pile. And that's when I was so shocked that I literally started screaming. I know, Alicia, you probably remember this. We both were, it was just, we could not control ourselves because what we saw was so daunting and so haunting in so many different ways. I was just shocked, and I didn't know how to express my shock. We thought that we were seeing another dying or another dead calf, so we thought, hey, maybe we'll just document one more. We found so many on this farm, let's just show people what we're finding. And instead of seeing someone who's already dead, when we saw Julianne look at that calf and see that she's actually not dead, it was extremely traumatizing. And that moment when you see this calf moving and you see that, I seriously feel like she was asking for help, and she had nothing left in her, but she was saying, hey, maybe these people will help me. And she started moving, and that's when we knew that we had to take her out. That wasn't our plan, but we knew that we had to pick her up and we had to do something about this, because who would leave a dying animal and not help her when she's pleading and she's sitting in the scorching sun for hours, and she's just left to die? And at that point, it didn't matter that Julianne had work the next day. It didn't matter that Alicia had to go home. It didn't matter that this wasn't our plan, and we actually just let go of everything that we had and used all the power within us to pick up that calf. For those of you who don't know, calves are quite heavy. Even when they're born, they're about 90 pounds at the lightest, and so Angel was very heavy, but we knew we had to do it, and we did. We started picking her up and walking out. And I think the worst part about that experience is how close we got. We got so close to leaving. We got so close to transporting Angel and seeing her at a sanctuary. And it was so unfortunate when we saw the police coming. But even then, we had a glimmer of hope that maybe these police officers will see this dying calf, and instead of trying to criminalize activists such as myself, Alicia, and Julianne, they'll look at this calf and they'll help her. But instead of giving her any attention, instead of looking at her and saying, hey, she's dying, as we would to do to any dog or any human that we saw on the side of the road, they decided that what they wanted to do was get us to stop documenting. So they took away our camera. That's the first thing that they did. And then to arrest us. And even then we pleaded them, please look at this calf. Please, you can arrest us if you want to, right, Alicia? We were telling them, like, you can arrest us if you want to. We're happy to go to jail.
Save the calf.
But save the calf. And the industry really does, these dairy farms, chicken farms, whatever it is, they really succeed because they don't pay attention to the animals. And when the reason they think that they have a case against activists is because they feel like they can focus on all of these points, such as, look at these activists coming from Berkeley and entering this farm, but they never talk about the animals. And the reason they don't talk about the animals is because they know whenever they start talking about the animals and acknowledging the fact that it's not okay to do what these animals are being subjected to, they're not going to win. I'm seeing a lot of comments. Do you mind if I just
No,
answer
of course
some?
not.
Bobby said, y'all are amazing. Holding a camera can be so restricting. Strapping a GoPro with a harness is the way to go. And I think that is a lesson we learned, right, Alicia? Yes. Yeah, for sure. Next time we're definitely going to have a GoPro anytime we do any sort of action like this. Yeah, and I just kind of wanted to add one thing to what Priya was saying, about like the calves being really heavy. I I think that's what made it like even more devastating was the fact that we saw this calf. We knew how heavy she was going to be, but like we just like struggled and we just like got all the power within ourselves and we're like we got to do it. We got to save her. This is so wrong. Like we have no choice. And so like yeah, just like to add on to what Priya was saying, like to get so close and to like it. I don't know if it came through on the live stream or not. I haven't been able to watch the live stream, but it really was so hard carrying her. And I think like myself and Julianne, I think we're pretty strong and we've, carried quite a few animals, but yeah, it was just so hard. So then like we're just like pushing through, like just mustering up all the strength, emotionally, physically that we have. And then just to get there and to be confronted with officers who are supposed to protect, they're supposed to serve the people, and then just to be treated so poorly by them, and then have Angel just be, laying on the ground a few feet away from us. We can't help her, and eventually workers from the farm came and just took her back and probably put her right back where we found her.
So you think she died, right?
We think so. We haven't. I don't think we've been able to find out.
Yeah, we tried to find out, but unfortunately we weren't able to. And the reason that we think that she's probably that Angel is probably no longer with us is because she was really on the verge of death. And I think if she went back to that farm, she probably went right back to the dead pile. Maybe they showed some mercy and they thought, hey, you know what? We're gonna put this calf in a crate. Even then, in these small crates, in these hutches, there's no way that these animals are going to get the care that they need. So many times we've seen that they don't have the food that they need. They don't have the water that they need. But most of all, they don't have their mother's touch. They can't even interact with these other animals, their brothers and sisters next to them, and they don't have the veterinary medical care that they need. So how are they ever going to get better? And Alicia's taken care of a lot of animals, so she knows we've taken care of Rosalind, and we know how much work that took. And these animals are not getting anywhere close to that. These calves don't have people attending to them every hour. Sometimes they lay there for days without food or water.
Yeah, and in these hutches, they have this hose system for water, but if the calves can't stand on their own, they can't reach the water. And we saw so many calves who just could not get up anymore. So the water is just out of reach. And yeah, caring for Rosalind, that was day and night care, like round the clock. It took a lot. So of course, like these farmers, they don't have the time, and it was thousands of dollars. They're not going to spend that money. They're in it for the profits. So these animals, they're suffering because of it.
So that's a lot of PTSD right there, just seeing all that. I can't even imagine. I mean, I do videos a lot, going through them, and to bear witness at dead piles like that, that's just, I feel so sorry for the animals. I don't even know what to say. But I do want to say thank you for everything that you've done. Are there any more questions for them? Does anybody want to ask anything?
Someone saying virtually sharing some comfort food and drink with you. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
Sweet.
That's really sweet. And Sahar saying you can help DXC continue its life-saving work by donating dxc.io/donate. Thanks so much, Sahar. Sahar's on our finance committee, and we're working really hard right now to make sure that we can continue helping more animals like Angel, and getting more people onto the front lines, getting more people trained so that they can save more animals. And right now we have a year-end fundraiser, and it's actually at dxc.io/give, and it's on Facebook, so you can easily donate a few dollars if you want to. And Karenna, if it's okay with you, I wanted to announce some news about the 100 turkeys.
Oh yes, please do.
We're actually going to be going to Utah next week, and we're really excited because we just got news that one of the turkey farmers, a farm where DXC has actually investigated and rescued animals from, and actually is some of our activists are facing charges at. This farm owner decided that he wants to release 100 birds to us during Thanksgiving, And so we're getting ready to save these lives, and we're really excited because this is a new, this is a new time for the animal rights movement, and we're making headway because even the very people who are who are raising these animals are saying, you know what, instead of prosecuting these activists who have rescued animals and who have investigated our farm, we want to do what they're doing. We want to release 100 birds in the spirit of Thanksgiving, and that's
Amazing.
what holidays are all about,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, of course. Compassion.
Yeah, it's amazing. The entire time Priya was talking, I keep getting chills. It's like it's amazing. It's going to be great. Yeah, if you haven't registered for the Convergence, the Animal Liberation Western Convergence
In Utah,
and you can
right?
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Utah.
Next weekend?
Yeah.
Are you coming?
I can't make it. I have my kids in town.
Yeah. So it'll be Friday the 16th until Tuesday the 20th. And if you can come just a few days or all of the days, that would be great. But we'll definitely be live streaming the turkey release.
Yeah, and so we'll see you in Utah. Thank you all so much. Thanks for sharing.
There were no more questions, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. No more questions?
No, we
Aw,
just have-
just a lot of comments like
Aw.
saying you're amazing. Oh, thanks for all you do. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Corinna. Thanks for
Yeah.
running this beautiful page and for spreading, spreading the
Awareness.
news and awareness about animal rights.
It's not always easy, right, everybody? To see all this, but I'm happy you're all here, so thank you. All right.